Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. We're so excited to worship with you. Could you all stand up as we begin praising the Lord? Days may be darkest, but your light is greater. You light our way, God, you light our way. When evil is rising, you're rising higher with power to save, with power to save. Sing this out, you keep hope. You keep hope alive. You keep hope alive from the beginning to end. Your word never fails. You keep hope alive because you are alive. Jesus, you are alive. Death had a stronghold, but your life was stronger. Rose from the grave, rose up from the grave. When evil is rising, you're rising higher with power to save, with power to save. You keep hope alive. You keep hope alive from the beginning to end. Your word never fails. You keep hope alive because you are alive. Jesus, you are alive. There's hope in the morning, hope in the evening, hope because you're living, hope because you're breathing. There's hope in the breaking, hope in the sorrow, hope for this moment, my hope for tomorrow. There's hope in the morning, hope in the evening, hope because you're living, hope because you're breathing. There's hope in the breaking, hope in the sorrow, hope for this moment, my hope for tomorrow. You keep hope alive. You keep hope alive from the beginning to end. Your word never fails. You keep hope alive because you are alive. Jesus, you are alive. You keep hope alive. You keep hope alive from the beginning to end. Your word never fails. You keep hope alive because you are alive. Jesus, you are alive. You keep hope alive. You keep hope alive from the beginning to end. Your word never fails. You keep hope alive because you are alive. Jesus, you are alive. promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail me yet. I know the night won't last. Your word will come to pass. My heart will sing your praise again. Jesus, you're still enough. Keep me within your love. 'Cause my heart will sing your praise again. Promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail. Promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail me yet. Never fail. Seen you move. You move the mountains, and I believe. I see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe. I see you do it again. See you move. You move the mountains, and I believe. I see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe. I see you do it again. See you move. You move the mountains, and I believe. I see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe. I see you do it again. I see you do it again. I see you do it again. 'Cause your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. 'Cause you never fail. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. God, you're faithful. I'm still in your hands. 'Cause this is my confidence. You've never failed me yet. I never will
just that we have the freedom to do that. Thank you for your faithfulness and the fact that you never leave. You're always with us, even if we're in a valley or on top of a mountain. God, you're so good. Thank you so much for this time. And just want to pray over the message and pray over the rest of the day, Lord, that we would be seeking you and just surrendering our will to yours. So we pray this in your heavenly name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Some of you know, you could probably look around and see, we are getting towards the end of the semester as far as chapels go. And some of you may be in need of a few more. And so I just wanted to tell you about one opportunity you have tomorrow evening. You may have noticed outside of the cafeteria, the social work and social justice club have been setting up and collecting things for an organization called Operation Christmas Child. And tomorrow evening, there's going to be an event where they're going to be putting the boxes together, putting items in different shoe boxes to send overseas to people to children who wouldn't ordinarily have gifts at Christmas time. And so this is an opportunity for you to participate in packing those boxes so that they could be sent and so that others might be able to receive a gift at Christmas, not just a gift of toys and hygiene products, but also the gift of the gospel. And so if that's something you'd be interested in, that'll be tomorrow night, I believe 7, but look in your emails to check for a time. Today, we have our chapel speaker is someone that many of you are very familiar with. You've seen her around campus, and you know her because she is so loving and compassionate, but also stern when she needs to be. She is the director of student success, Erica Kreckenberg. Some of you may know her as Mama Kay. Erica is a Texas girl that found her way to Kansas many years ago and just can't seem to stay away. She graduated from Bethany College in Lindsborg, and we won't hold that against her, with her bachelor's degree in international economics and global studies before heading off to the Peace Corps. After returning to the United States, Erica married her husband Eric, and they have 2 children, Chance and Avery. Erica has a master's in education from Texas A&M, and she's working on her doctorate from Baker University in higher education leadership. She is excited today to share her story and just how God has intervened and showed his grace and impacted her life. So she's going to come today and share with us. Would you please help me welcome Erica as she comes to share with us today in chapel?
Thanks. You like that? I like that. First of all, thank you. And I am so proud of every single person sitting in here. We are almost done with our semester. For some of you, it's your first semester in college, and I wake up every morning so excited that you're still here, that you're still working hard, you're still eating that elephant one bite at a time, and you're still having chicken nuggets on Friday. So that makes me very, very happy. Absolutely. Before we get started, I need you to visualize something for me. One of my favorite foods, I have many, obviously, favorite foods, but one of my favorite foods is guacamole. So I want you to imagine a bowl of guacamole, and not the guacamole that you buy at the grocery store that you slide out of that bag, like real guacamole, with chunks of tomato and chunks of onion and jalapeno, real guacamole. Okay, you got it in your head? And a basket of chips, well salted. So what I'm going to tell you today is going to be that bowl of guacamole, one scoop about Mama Kay. Still lots of guacamole left, but this is just one piece of Mama Kay and how God came along beside me and with me and helped me be where I am today. Okay, so we've got the guacamole. Our stomachs are starting to get full. We're good to go. Okay, so sometimes you think you know somebody. Lots of people know that I love to read books. If I could get paid a lot of money to read books all day, every day, I think I might do that, except I would miss all of your smiling faces. But I also love semi-trucks. Love them. On my way to work every day, I come down 135, and then I go on 56 here, and I pass the Loves, and I'm fascinated by how all of those drivers get those trucks parked just right. They don't knock anybody's mirrors off, hopefully. They take care of business, they get back in those trucks, they keep them operating, and they keep us sustained. I think it's important for us to remember that wherever we go, we'll see a truck like this, just like wherever we go, the Lord is with us. Also, whenever you see one of those Amazon trucks with the blue smile, think in your head, Mama Kay would want that truck to be full of books. Okay, all right, so let's get started. All right, a long time ago, back in the historic time, before most of you were born, I grew up in a little town, it's not very little anymore, Plano, Texas. We, at the time, had the largest football stadium in North Texas. Now Allen High School has that largest football stadium. We still are a very affluent community, and at this point in life, this is high school for me, I did not know who the Lord was. But I did know who Gucci was, I knew who Fendi was, I knew who Prada was, and I also know what a Mercedes was and a BMW, and I was pretty proud of it. And not proud of it today, but at that point was a very big priority in my life. What did Mama Kay want to be? No laughing at the hair. I wanted to fly F-15 Eagles. Back in the day, women didn't fly fighter jets. That's why I wanted to do it. You tell me no, I'm going to tell you yes. You tell me I can't, I'm going to tell you I can. I wanted to fly this thing so bad. So bad. How do I do it? Let's start finding out. Now, this is pre-Google, guys. This is like card catalog days, like where you had to go to the library and actually speak with our librarian. Janet is phenomenal, if you haven't met her, by the way. And talk to people and read about things and read newspapers to find out. Well, in my reading, I found out that you had to have really good vision. Well, as Miss Emily and Miss Celeste will tell you, if I don't have my glasses on, somebody has to get me a guide dog. So this dream didn't last very long. Growing up, I have 2 brothers and a dad and a mom. We love to travel. We love to scuba dive and snorkel. We love to find new countries, new food, anything that was not Texas, because we just wanted to broaden our horizons, even though Texas thinks it's its own country most of the time. My dad was president and CEO of a company called Lone Star Steel, Lone Star Technology. It's a family-owned company. We made offshore drilling pipe. Our big customers were oil rigs out in the Gulf of Mexico to dig way, 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 way deep. But it afforded us the opportunity to travel, and travel a lot. When you look up the word daddy's girl in the dictionary, you will see a picture of myself and my dad. We traveled all the time, and I was very blessed for that opportunity. Again, after you have kids, you get old. The pounds don't go away, but this is what I used to look like. We were in the Bahamas. I was in college in the middle picture because that's my sorority at Bethany. I have a really big head and a lot of hair, and no comments there. That's the best I could do for a helmet. And then we were parasailing in Hawaii. All this time, I'm on top of the world. Nothing is going to take me down. I don't need anybody but my family, a credit card, and a suitcase to go someplace. San Francisco, my brothers and I on a trolley car. Look how short the hair is. This is right after I get back from the Peace Corps, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in a minute. But we didn't eat a lot of yummy food in the Peace Corps all the time, so a lot of pounds fell off. But my brother on the far left, his name is Barclay. Brother in the back, his name is Grant. My dad, Ben, and my mom, Susan, and then crazy Mama Kay. I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. We won't talk about the Denver game. That was embarrassing, but yeah, we did much better this weekend. And I am a huge Dallas Cowboy cheerleader fan as well. I try out for the cheerleaders every single year, and they just say it's my lack of football knowledge that's holding me back. If I could sort out a home run and a touchdown, I'd be set. So we'll just go back, try again next year. Kelly Finglass and I, we're like this. Huge Cowboy fan. When the Cowboys were not in Jerry World that they're in now, they used to be in Texas Stadium, the Texas Stadium. And God, of course, is phenomenal and wonderful and works in mysterious ways, started to kind of tap me on the shoulder at a football game. We had season tickets to the Cowboys in the old stadium, not in the new stadium. And I went only to watch the cheerleaders. My husband says he was only to watch the football players, but that's a different talk. And there was a gentleman that sat behind me. And he would talk to me when I would come to the game. We would go to the concession stands together where our season tickets kind of had one concession stand that we would serve us food and drinks and things. And so we chatted a lot. He had children. He was older. He had children my age. So we were kind of, navigating similar waters. And he said, Erica, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with your life? Where are you going? And I said, I'm going to start a company. I'm going to, I had this big thing. And he goes, how are you going to, what's your safety net? What happens if it doesn't work out? And I just looked at him like, what do you mean if it doesn't work out? You have to have that constant. Where's your constant? And that's all he said. And I said, well, let me think about it. I don't know. Now, sometimes, we get a bye week or Thanksgiving, and there's a long time till a playoff possible game. So a few weeks, maybe a month or so went by, and we were at another game. And he said, so did you think about it, Erica? What's going to be your constant? And I said, well, my family is my constant. Well, what if your family's not there? Well, they'll be there. Don't worry. All right, so after high school, I went to Bethany, same colors, different mascot, different location geographically. Was headed to the University of Texas at Austin. It's going to be a Longhorn. We're sort of embarrassed by our football performance too there, but we won't go there either. And was going to the business school, had plans. I'm a Kappa Legacy, going to join the sorority. It's going to be great. The guacamole people in Austin, spot on. Then there was this presidential scholarship test at Bethany. Erica, I think you should go take this test. Where's Bethany? I know where Austin is. I don't know where Lindsborg is. Just get in the car and go north. You'll find it. So I go take this test, and I get the scholarship, and Dad says, you have to go. It's free. I'm not paying for college. If you can go for free, get in the car and go. I was not very happy because there's no mall in Lindsborg. There's no DoorDash, there's no Grubhub, there's no nothing, no Fendi, no Gucci, no Versace, nothing. And at that time, there was just a flashing red light. Now we don't even have that. But I go, because, again, look it up in the dictionaries, Daddy's little girl, this will make him happy. He promised me that I could go on trips at spring break. He promised me I could go on trips at Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever I wanted to do. So I go. But there was a little teeny detail. My boyfriend at the time was in Dallas, and he was not coming to Lindsborg. I went home every single weekend my first semester. Every weekend. Somebody want to guess what my grade point average was at the end of the first semester? Just throw me out a number. Lower. Oh yeah, lower. My grade point average, full scholarship, not going to pay a dime, top of my graduating class, 0.75. Yeah, 0.75. Never in my life has it been a train wreck and a dumpster fire all at the same time like it was right then. Now, this is pre-email, pre-text message, pre-anything. I had to pick up the phone, dial the number, let it ring, and tell my daddy, I messed up. I messed up bad. I was so terrified. And my dad, he's a very smart man and a very kind man and a very grace-filled man, said, you know what, we'll talk about that when you get home. People, it's 7 hours back to Dallas, all the way. He's going to kick me out. He's going to make me get a job. He's going to make me pay for all of this. Maybe I'll just drop out of school. What am I going to do? I get home, and he goes, what do you think I should do with you? What if your daughter came to you and said, or your son came to you and said, Mom, I got a .75 and I've lost a full scholarship. What would you do? And I said, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I don't have any children, Dad. I know that. He said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you that I'm very sad that you made that choice, and I'm disappointed, but I love you, and you're going to pack your car back up, and you're going to go back to school, and you're never going to have a .75 GPA again. Okay. And we never spoke of it after that. I feel like that time, driving from Lindsborg to Dallas, wondering, worrying, fearful, all of the above, what my father was going to say, was more punishment than he could have ever dished out. So, we graduate from Bethany. I have an international business degree. I want to go get a master's degree in international management. I'm going to start a freight forwarding company, probably the beginning of the likes of my semi-obsession. My maiden name, and you can laugh all you'd like because I got to get rid of it, was Stiff, like a dead person. S-T-I-F-F. My poor brothers still have that last name. I was going to have a freight forwarding company. I was going to spell Stiff backwards so it would be Fitz. And we were going to be door-to-door international. I had a plan. But there was a small problem. You have to take a GMAT back in the olden days, not in test optional time, to get into this place that I wanted to go. Thunderbird. And there was a little asterisk on the application that said, return Peace Corps volunteers don't have to take the test. Hey, I speak a couple of languages. I love learning. I'm sure they'll put me in Eastern Europe. I'll travel. I've still got Daddy's credit card. It'll be wonderful. Think of the shopping in Paris. It'll be great. So, fill out the application, mail it in because nothing's emailed, and I wait. And I get my envelope in the mailbox, and I tear it open. Congratulations, Erica Stiff. I know. You've been accepted to the Peace Corps, and you're going to Uzbekistan. Anybody know where Uzbekistan is? Well, good. Well, that's important. And I hope if Dr. Johnson's in here with his geography class, he knows. Okay, good. Good. Uzbekistan is a former republic of the Soviet Union. If you imagine the state of California, and it's laid on its side, 75% of that country is a desert. 25% is not. And it is a Muslim country. Here's God continuing to work in a sly way for me. Okay, I can go to Uzbekistan. I can find a train. I can shop. Maybe I can get someplace that's going to have something name brand. I don't know. The Silk Road runs through Samarkand, Tashkent, many cities in Uzbekistan, and it is beautiful. It is a country like you've never seen before because it's the former Soviet Union and not a lot of people saw inside there until the end of the Cold War. But it's gorgeous. The people are very welcoming, very warm. It's a Muslim country. The Peace Corps volunteers get a job assignment, and my job assignment was to help establish a free market economy and teach university-level economics. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the wrong gender to do any of those things in that country. What am I going to do for 2 years? Dad's credit card is not going to get me that much entertainment for that long. Eventually, he'll figure it out. What am I going to do? I'm in the capital city of Tashkent. I'm at the AIG insurance office, which is a connection for my dad. And I'm standing there having a cup of espresso, and I hear someone say, hey, Erica. Who knows me here? And I turn around, and it's the gentleman that sits behind me at the football game. And I'm like, Harold, why are you here? And he's like, I'm here on business. Why are you here? And I said, well, gave him the short version of why I was here. And he said, so I have to ask, what's your support? How are you going to answer my question? And I said, this is Dad's connection. I'm still good with my family. And he goes, I want you to think about maybe a higher power. Maybe you think about a faith. Maybe you could connect with the Lord. And I'm like, okay, thanks. Okay. I'm in a Muslim country, he's talking about God, and I really want to make sure I can shop. So the three are still not quite aligning properly. However, as my time in the Peace Corps went on, you have a lot of time to sit and be, and sit and think. And you find people who speak English, because we were learning Uzbek. We learned Russian before we went, then they taught us Uzbek when we got in country. But you miss English, so you find people who speak English. And I found a pastor and his wife from a Lutheran church that were there actually visiting their children that were there on a different mission, that loved Uzbekistan so much that they stayed. And we started to talk. And he introduced me to the Bible, and he introduced me to the books of the Bible and the stories in the Bible. And then I had my answer for Harold that sat behind me for so long. By the time I got back in country here, Harold had passed away, and I couldn't tell Harold that I figured it out. But I think Harold knows. At least I'm going to cross my fingers that he does. When a couple of the stories that I tell to make us appreciate what we have here in the United States, although we would really like the best new pair of Hey Dudes, or we would really like a new pair of Jordans, or whatever. I just want shoes that don't hurt the old lady's feet. That's my whole goal. But when I was at the market in Gulistan, everyone was excited. People were like, oh, shoes are here, shoes are here. And so I'm thinking, hey, we'll get some new shoes. They probably won't be Gucci, they probably won't be Fendi, but they'll be new shoes. The shoe guy was there, and the shoe guy had left shoes, a mountain of left shoes, and people were thrilled. Now, this is not Payless or Nordstrom Rack, where they're all nicely organized by size. The kids and the adults are literally sitting on the ground trying them on over and over again until they found one that fit. They bought the left shoe in anticipation that the shoe guy would find the right shoe. They had faith that he would eventually find the pile of right shoes. Question mark. I have a left shoe from Uzbekistan. I don't have a right shoe. But they had faith that it would come. I don't know if it ever arrived. So the Peace Corps taught me, introduced me, provided me the opportunity to understand that there is a higher power in this world that loves you constantly, no matter when you think, you don't need that, and waits very patiently. Come back to the United States, think, okay, I'm going to go to Thunderbird. We plan, and God laughs. Because I think I should probably get that tattooed someplace. Instead of going to Thunderbird, I got married. This is my husband, Eric. This is the only time in his adult life that he's ever had hair on the top of his head. So if you ever see Papa K walking around campus, tell him you know what he looked like 27 years ago. And that's my dad. And we're in Lindsborg. And my dad put this picture on his desk because to see the sign above our heads, once he married me, there's no coming back. I'm done. When Eric called, he was in Kansas. We were in Dallas. My husband's from Great Bend originally. He called. I happened to be out getting ice cream, and he called to ask permission to marry me. And remember the daddy's little girl thing. What comes out of my dad's mouth? Not, oh, it's my only daughter, or, what are your intentions? He says, she's really high maintenance. Do you really want to get into this? Thanks, Dad. Anyway, so we get married. My dad's company is Lone Star Steel, Lone Star Technology, like I mentioned earlier. He's a wonderful man, very kind, very gracious, the sort of person that would, if your accounting department or your administrative assistant's child needed braces but couldn't afford it, magically the additional money would appear in a paycheck. Like to make sure that full Thanksgiving dinners got delivered to both his office staff as well as the people who worked in our plants in East Texas. East Texas is gorgeous. Marshall, Texas is where the plant was at the time. He just wanted to make sure that he understood, or the people that worked for him and worked for Lone Star, he recognized how hard they worked. Working in a blast furnace in a steel mill is a hard, hard job, and whatever he could do to recognize that was important. So, set the scene for what a great guy Dad was. Then, life as I know it stopped. My life changed. I'm married. I'm thinking about working in the family business, really want to start my business. Going to go to SMU for graduate school now since I can't go to Arizona, right? And since my time in the Peace Corps, this Lutheran pastor was so kind. We joined a Lutheran church in Plano, and the women were very welcoming. They invited me to a retreat in Sky Ranch in East Texas. And we were there for a couple of hours. We ordered pizza. Pizza arrived. Typical, all the moms are talking. I didn't have kids then. We hadn't had children at this point. And there's a knock at the door. And somebody else answered it and said, "Hey, Erica, it's for you." And I'm thinking, I haven't been here long enough to make anybody upset. I haven't broken any rules yet. Why are they looking for me? So I walked to the door, and when I walked to the door, there stands my 6'7", almost 6'8" husband. He was an offensive lineman for Ted Kessinger at Bethany, massive man, and he's crying. And not just the soap opera tears, like full-on crying. Well, you have to know that my husband was a late-in-life surprise, and I thought, and so his parents are older, I thought something had happened to my in-laws. So I immediately said, "Sit down, honey, it's okay." I'm thinking, I didn't think we'd have to go through this so soon, but it's going to be okay. We'll get to Kansas. We'll take care of your dad. We'll take care of your mom. Tell me what happened. And he said, "No, Erica, it's not my parents." And I'm like, huh? Well, what's wrong? What could make you cry? "It's your dad." "What's wrong with Dad? I just saw him. I have his car because my car was overheating, so he gave me his car. I saw him like 7 hours ago. He's dead." And my world stopped. Well, what happened? Back in the olden days, we had beepers. We didn't have cell phones quite like we do now. My dad got a page on his pager, on his beeper. My mom is in St. Louis. My brothers are away at college. I'm out in East Texas on a retreat. My husband's on duty at the fire station. He gets a beep. He calls the number. It's his accountant for the company. "Hey, my car broke down. Can you come pick me up?" "Sure. He'd be happy to. Where are you at?" "I'm on 75 by this exit." "Okay, be there in a minute." He walks out on the driveway. My car was there, not conducive, and she has a son. She's a single mom, and her son was with her. He's like, "No, this will be a little cozy. I'll take my wife's car," because my mom had flown to St. Louis. So he gets in the purple minivan. My mom is a K-State fan. Purple minivan, and drives and picks her up. The little boy says, "Mr. Stiff, I'm hungry. Could you feed me? Can we get something to eat?" So rather than the typical Happy Meal McDonald's, they choose to go to Uncle Julio's Mexican restaurant. Excellent guacamole, by the way, side note. And the reason we know that is because we have a receipt in his wallet for 2 adult plates and 1 child's plate. And the ticket's closed 8:30, 9 o'clock. After they eat, he takes them home. And like all good Southern gentlemen should do, he walks them to the door and opens the door. She's got packages in her hand because they took everything out of her car because they were leaving it on the side of the highway. Opens the door, and there's a man in the living room with a double-barrel shotgun. And he shot my father in the head, and he died right there in the living room. The little boy ran into his bedroom and hid behind the door, and the mom ran into her room. That man reloaded his shotgun, went into the room, shot the little boy. We have footprints of the lady. She was shot and killed in the kitchen, and then the man went into the front yard and killed himself. The man that killed himself in the front yard had escaped from prison 7 years before, obtained a new identity good enough, secure enough, to get a level 5 security clearance at TI, almost government level, not quite. It was a very, very mentally unstable individual and had been stalking his ex-wife and his son for a while, found them, and my dad was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, mind you, I'm in East Texas. My mom is in St. Louis. My brothers are away at college. Remember, my maiden name was Stiff. And back in the olden days, no Google, we had phone books. And so when the paramedics arrived, my father was obviously deceased. They pulled his wallet out of his pocket. Stiff is a unique name. They looked in the phone book, and they had two choices. One was his phone number, and the other was my grandmother's number. She was 80-something at the time. And so they called my grandmother to tell them that her son had been killed and what was the next of kin that they could notify. So there's a picture of my grandma. We were in Hawaii. She's a spry old lady. She's very organized. I liked it a lot. When she knew she was going to pass away, side story, I know you're shocked that Mama Kay has a side story, she wrote everything down in her book. She even typed her own newspaper obituary, what she wanted it to say, step by step. And the night that she passed away, she put her little book, and she was in a assisted living, when they found her, she had the book in her hand. She had her Bible in this hand and her instructions in this hand. She's a good lady, well organized. So, Grandma Peggy, another quick story, had to call her Grandma Peggy because I couldn't spell Margaret when I was little, but I could spell Peggy. So Grandma Peggy got the call. When Grandma Peggy got the call, she had to tell my mom because then my brothers and I needed to know. We needed to start processing this. We needed to understand. So, cell phones had been invented, but they weren't like we have now. My mom is standing in Walmart in the toilet paper section when her cell phone rings. And her mother-in-law tells her that her husband is dead. My mom has never gone back in Walmart again. She has purchased toilet paper since then, but she does not go in Walmart because it's traumatic. Understandably so. So she calls my husband, and she says to my husband, this is what's happened. This is what you need to do. You need to go get Erica. So he drives to East Texas, brings a friend so the friend can drive the car I drove, and we start to process this. All of those ladies that minute stopped and started praying. They didn't know what they were praying for. They didn't know what happened detail-wise. They just knew that a tragedy had occurred. And at that moment, I felt the presence of the Lord in such a way that I could never, ever really give you a description. The man most important in my life, next to my husband, is gone. But I'm calm. And I know that the reason at that point in my life I'm calm is because he was there. So, life became a blur, lots of questions. Why? How could this happen? Whose behind do I need to kick for letting that guy out of jail? Why? How did it, the questions just happened. My mom shut down. I became responsible for making the funeral plans, dealing with the insurance papers, getting my brothers back from college, the service, the company, everything. That's a lot when the most significant man in your life dies. Then one day I hit a wall. Got my wall? That's kind of nice. Thank goodness for Google Images, right? Okay, so I hit this wall, and bless my husband's heart. He looks big and scary, but he is a giant teddy bear. I literally woke up one morning and said, I can't. I'm crying. I'm in my jammies. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't know what to do. And all Eric knew was that he felt at that point he needed to call the pastor because he knew there was only one person and one being in this world that was going to help us, being he and I, through this. So he called Pastor Harvey Anderson at Preston Meadow Lutheran Church in Plano, Texas, and he says, bring her in. No problem, bring her in. This was before wearing your jammies to class was a thing. I'm in my jammies, folks, like fuzzy slippers and the whole 9 yards. And I'm sitting in Harvey's office, and I'm crying, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't go forward. I can't do anything. I'm just losing my mind. And he said, well, we need to start talking about this, and there's 3 T's that we're going to consistently go back to. Time, talking, and tears. You're going to take out time to get through this and process this. You're going to talk about it. I have a PhD in talking, so we are good at that. And you're going to have a lot of tears, and there's no shame in it. On Harvey's file cabinet, there was a bumper sticker that said, we plan and God laughs. That's still prevalent today. So I began the process of going through, what do I do now? Daddy's not here anymore. I don't have a wonderful relationship with my mom. That's a whole separate conversation. She's very close with my brothers. What do I do? It took 15 years for me to be able to stand in front of a group of people, it was a group of ladies at a women's retreat, and say, I forgive the man that murdered my father. And when I said those words, the feeling that came over me was similar to that night when the ladies were praying for me, because I had let it go. I was not battling that demon any longer. What happened and why he made those choices and what brought him to that is not my business. That is between him and the Lord. So when I forgave him, things started falling together. Things were more clear. I was very thankful. I'm thankful for so many things. I'm thankful for my children. I'm thankful for Bon Jovi. I'm thankful for books. I'm thankful for gas stations that can fill up semis that can deliver books. But I was not thankful until I let that go. I appreciate the little things. I appreciate a newly sharpened pencil. A good eraser is a key to life. You have to appreciate the little things. And how I turn and make sure or can move forward every day is I want to help. I want to help people. I want to help students. I want to advocate for people who don't have a voice or don't know how to use their voice. And that wouldn't have happened if that man hadn't made that decision all those years ago and made me walk that journey with God standing right next to me and saying it's going to be okay. And then there's the listening part. Sometimes you just have to stop and listen because he's telling you things. You just aren't always willing to hear them. So these are some of my thankful points. My handsome husband, it's No Shave November right now, which makes me very happy. Full beard happening. My son Chance, he's a lineman in the city of Garden City, works on power lines so that all your gaming stations will turn on, which is important. And my daughter Avery with her dog Max. We also have 4 other cats and another dog, but I didn't have a picture of all that. There's a lot of fur. This is my quasi-other husband, not really, but just for this conversation. This is John Bon Jovi. This is what he looked like when I was y'all's age in college. This is what he looks like now. He's aging very well, in my opinion. During the pandemic, he came out with a new song called Do What You Can. And these lyrics, trust me, I will not sing for you. These lyrics really resonate with me and the walk that I've had and the journey I've had to this point in my life. And there's lots of other peripheral things that have gone on too. This is not just it. But there's no substitute for love. Love yourself, love your family, love your neighbor, love your friend. A stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. The freshmen that are sitting in here, other than a phone conversation maybe, I didn't know who you are, but I count you as a friend. You're also stuck with me because once you're a Mama K kid, you're always a Mama K kid. But you just have to reach out. And I also love books, so I thought I'd throw this in because books are great and phenomenal. Read that again. When you find out that your father is dead, your everything is gone, that's a big struggle. And the blessing is there. You just have to wait for it to present itself. This is my last slide for today. Be the reason someone believes in good people. Be that spark for somebody. Pray with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for all these faces. Thank you for this position here at Tabor College. Thank you for helping them get to this point and continue to walk with them so that they can be their best selves. Thank you for the leaves that fall all at the same time in those beautiful yellow trees. And thank you for Bon Jovi and all of his songs. I pray this in your name. Amen.